Well, we got Mark Stubler on the line. Mark, I really appreciate you joining us here tonight. And before we kick things off, I always like to lead with your contact information. So Mark is the founder of Joe Homebuyer, a real estate investing franchise that helps newer investors especially get into this whole thing we call wholesaling and real estate investing. And it's really an exciting topic here tonight. But if you want more information from you directly, we'll go to joehomebuyer.com. Is that the best place to get a hold of you?
And you can find me on LinkedIn, Facebook. Yep. Thank you, Jack. I appreciate that. But that's exactly right. joehomebuyer.com. Would love to hear from you.
So let's just start things off. Like, I always like to start at the beginning. Like, how did you get into this? Like the whole real estate investing thing, is becoming an entrepreneur. Let's go down that road a little bit.
I appreciate the question. I'm a fence and deck salesman. So I'm the guy that shows up to your home with my polo and measures your yard and gives you an estimate for a fence. That's my experience up until 5 years ago. I'm a fence and deck salesman. Worked with a great company for 10 years. And they gave me a gift about 10 years, about 5 years ago after working for them for 10 years. And they didn't realize they were giving me a gift. I was making good money. I had worked for them for, mentioned several years. And the gift they gave me was they took away my autonomy. I was the guy that came and went as I pleased. I showed up on Tuesdays for sales meeting. Other than that, I was just pounding the pavement, producing sales, and they were happy. I was happy. And then about 10 years in, they said, hey, you have to come in once a week for 4 to 5, 6 hours and man the desk. And I felt like I was a pencil sharpener. And they gave me the gift of taking away my autonomy. And I realized that entrepreneurial energy and bug that was in me, in my blood, it surfaced. It challenged me to ask myself, actually, I'm not I'm not calling my own shots completely. I'm still working for somebody. And I was friends with Cody Hoffine, who you and I both have a relationship with. Mm-hmm. He just had recently at the time got into wholesaling, and he challenged me. We had gone to lunch and I told him my dilemma, and I told him I was on a journey to make a decision soon. I was going to pick Amazon business or a real estate. And I was doing research in both. And he said, look, you got to try this. And thankfully, he was open enough to share what he learned. And not more than just a few months later, we actually ended up partnering up. But that's what was the pivotal change for me, Jack, was having a successful company I worked for, but realizing that, hey, I have this entrepreneurial energy and blood about me, but it was them taking away some of that freedom that I realized, no, I need to take this serious. I need to go out and create for myself.
Right. No, that's kind of neat that you had Cody to kind of lean on, maybe push you in that direction. But there probably was some other driving purposes behind you getting into real estate investing as well, right? What made it attractive? Like what if you had 5 benefits for real estate investing, what would they be?
So I had bought a rental. I had a couple rentals. I had done a rehab or 2 over the course of working for this other company. I would dabble in other little businesses. I understand also, on the contrary, the value of like an e-commerce business of like, hey, I want something to work for me while I'm not. So that connected with me from the rental side, this idea that, hey, I could be collecting rent each month and not have to duplicate myself year in, year out, month in, month out. So that was one thing, the idea that I could create passive income through real estate. I understood that from that side of things. I'd done a rehab, and it was something that was interesting to me. And I, I had a lot of experience growing up with landscaping and things. And so I kind of liked the side of like enhancing a home and enjoying that. But then really that was the profits. I mean, if I'm calling a spade, mm-hmm. margins in real estate are attractive. You can do some pretty special things very quickly in short order with the right direction in real estate. The margins are a special thing. And so I took what I knew, the experience I had, coupled with the opportunity and the margins, the profit opportunities in real estate. I said, this is where I'm going to start my journey.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's got to be the driving reason, right? I mean, for most people, let's just be blunt about it. I mean, it's all about the money. But what really intrigues me is that you going through the process of deciding to get into real estate, doing the full plunge of being an entrepreneur, and
Right.
then turning this into a franchise. I mean, can you talk a little bit about like that process and like how did you go to becoming a franchise?
Well, look, I got mentoring right off the bat, both with my business partner Cody, who had been in it a few months longer than me. I had received some of the best practices that I could follow, and I really valued that. In fact, Jack, it jump started me. Had I not had that, it would have been a slower growth type thing. And so I understand it from that perspective. I see in our world, in this world of real estate, that there's so much opportunity, but oftentimes people, you've seen it. A lot of people get into it, but they don't stick with it because there's lack of clarity, lack of purpose, whatever it is that, or even just the fears of spending money to market and that type of thing overcome them, and they give up early. And so for me, it was like, all right, well, I received a lot of benefit by having, instruction and mentoring. How can I provide that in this marketplace? And I feel like with, coaching and, seminars and gurus and all these different things, they're great. In fact, I was a benefactor of it. But what about the ongoing scaling, the ongoing implementation? Who's there when you have, a hiccup at the closing table, midnight hour? Sometimes the coaches are there, but can I provide that system in a turnkey style business? And that's what we've done with Joe Homebuyer, a system that people can not just get the education, but the implementation, the hand holding, so to speak, the ongoing mentoring and support so they can build and scale a business over time. And that's the distinction with Joe Homebuyers. It's the ongoing, implementation and support. And I felt like
Right.
I could, anyway, go ahead.
No, I just think that, one of the key things that we've definitely found, it's that persistent, consistent behavior. And
Right.
without what you're talking about, it's really hard to ensure that persistent, consistent behavior if you don't have that type of support and processes in place.
Well said.
So you're talking about that. That's another thing that's really interesting is that you would have had to spend quite a bit of time planning out this processes, not only the curriculum, but like the tools and down to the
Oh,
script level, I'm sure. I mean, this is a lot of content.
it's, it's, I didn't quite understand what I was signing up for when we said, hey, we're going to create this. It took us about 2 years to develop everything we're at today. And let's be honest, I'm continually improving and developing better processes, more content, and improving our support. Where we lack in some of our processes today, we provide in concierge service and just hands-on experience. But yes, it's very robust. It takes a lot to have. I mean, you have to create a system that virtually somebody can plug and play. They want to know
Mhm.
exactly what to do, exactly what the cadence is with marketing, exactly what the metrics should tell them relative to how much they should market and where they should start their marketing, what list they should start with, how they obtain the list. I mean, it's on and on and on. It's a big project, and that's what we enjoy doing. We have a very capable team. We feel like we've been able to do it. We started in Utah, very quickly captured market share, went into Dallas, a very competitive market, had our first franchisee in Phoenix, and realized, hey, we're getting results in all of these places. And so we've had a lot of experience so that we can provide support for people in competitive markets, small markets, large markets. We understand the game, and we're always learning as well so that we can continue to provide our franchisees a lot of support.
Yeah, I mean, this is really kind of an interesting thing. Like, so when you provide, like, somebody signs up for your franchise, can you talk a little bit? Let's broaden it out a little bit. What does all that encompass? Like, we've been talking about everything from 24-hour support to, I'm sure that there's, knowing Cody, I'm sure that there's some mindset
Right.
stuff in there. I'm sure that there's got to be a lot of training and material and scripts, and I'm sure you even have gotten to the point of giving people like direction on what should be printed on their yellow letter. I mean,
That's right. That's right. Yeah,
so like,
very.
There are different stages. Like you can have this level of support versus like the whole.
Very much. Yeah. In fact, we have some, Jack, that come on and they want to build the business as a general manager. They don't want to go out and acquire properties. They don't want to dispo it themselves. They want to put those, plug people into those positions. And so we have a model to support that. There's others that want to be, in the trenches, out the gate, learn the whole thing and scale their business over time and hire over time, and anywhere in between, right? And anywhere in between in terms of experience. We've had a couple business rollovers where they're already in the business and they want to just scale their business, and we support them with that. And others that don't know the first thing about real estate, but they just have a little bit of, they're entrepreneurs and they want to get off on a journey. But to answer your question relative to what does that support look like? What are the granular aspects of that? You're spot on. It starts with, we're coaches of success. And I feel like I can say that because I'm a student of success, meaning I don't have it all figured out, but I'm working on it. I'm learning. I'm trying to develop to be the best leader I can be. And I've found that in my organization, the better leader, Jack, that I'm becoming, the better I develop individually, the more value I'm able to provide my own team, even my family for that matter, and as a husband and a father. And it starts with that personal development. And so we understand that there has to be an aspect of the Joe Homebuyer system that provides ongoing coaching and support to help them to learn success principles and develop and challenge them to do that. With the industry we're in, we're a marketing company, we're an acquisition company, we're a sales company, meaning that it is real estate. So we get the benefits of all the upside that real estate offers. But when it comes down to it, we're a marketing company. Like the phone has to ring, the opportunities we have to create opportunities, whether it's through, pounding the payment on the phone or direct mail or web or any of the other nuances for marketing, which we apply. We're a marketing company. And so we provide a lot of support with the marketing. We understand, where to spend money and how to do so to scale over time, not to just throw money. When we first went into Dallas about 1.5 years ago, we made some mistakes because here we are just killing it in Utah, have lots of competitors and we know everything. We went into Dallas because we had a budget. We just started spending our budget. Luckily, we were making money, but we weren't overly profitable because we just kind of threw caution at the wind. We're like, hey, we've done this. We were kind of puffing out our chests. We've done this before. We learned some valuable lessons. They helped us realize that, every market's a little different. Our approach has to be, start from the ground up, learn and apply and implement based off your findings, finding what, making decisions off your KPIs. And so we've learned some great things over the years that are just allowing us to provide a lot of value to our franchisees. And one of the things I have most passion about is the acquisition side. Remember, I was in selling fencing and decking, so I love meeting with sellers. I love talking about, their projects. In this case, we're talking about a problem that they're having and solving it. So we provide a ton of support on acquisition and acquiring the properties, which includes, lots of case studies, lots of examples, ongoing support every week where their acquisition managers or the owner themselves or both can jump on a support call. And we break down actual deals that we're doing, actual case studies, the good, the bad, where we did great, what we could have done better, the negotiation, all the nuances in between, so that we can really help our franchisees not only understand the marketing, not only understand the success principles, but now, all right, how do I go out and apply them? And how are they most relevant in the conversations and the opportunities I'm having? And so the acquisition support is another major part of what we have to provide.
Yeah. So before we move on, I just want to make sure everybody knows how to get a hold of you again. So make sure if you like what you're hearing, what Mark is saying, definitely check out joehomebuyer.com. And, I know you're very active on LinkedIn, so look for Mark Stubler, Stubler on LinkedIn. I'm sure that you'll probably be able to answer a few questions there as well.
Please.
But with that, going back to 5 years ago when you're getting into real estate investing, if you had a platform like you're offering here now, like when you started off, like how much faster would you have grown your business?
I love that.
It would have
question.
been a game changer, wouldn't it?
I love that question. I can answer it by saying we just had a gentleman that's a lot like me and Cody that just started in Dallas, and what he's been able to accomplish in just a few months. And, because of the nature of franchising, I can't quote specifics because, we need to be sensitive not to try to, and I don't even know that it's that all situations are going to be equal, but he's just knocked it out of the park. And, partly because of his character and who he is, but partly because we've created a platform that he could focus on his strengths and utilize, the things that we've created for him and built around him. And so the easy answer to your question is yes. What I know now, if I could have tapped into a turnkey system and leveraged all that experience and even the personnel and resources for support, it would have been a special thing. And that's what we're hopefully providing for our franchisees, is just a jump start. In fact, we just had a new franchisee come on in Utah. He's my acquisition manager, Jack, and he's going from my acquisition manager to a franchisee in Utah. And he very much looks at it that way. He said to me the other day, in fact, believe it or not, his name is Joe as well. So go figure, Joe Homebuyer. But Joe is my acquisition manager, now a franchisee. And he said that. He says, look, I know what to do now, but why would I go do it on my own when you guys have 5 years head start on me? I'm just going to tap into your system and go out and take over the world with it. And so that's the goal, is to create a platform where you can not only leverage our experience, but leverage our team to just go out and worry about the things that are most important. And that's making money.
Sure. So, you brought up a bunch of stuff here to unpack, but one of the things that I think is something that I keep pushing is the whole concept of, you can either put in the 10,000 hours, become proficient at this yourself, or and I don't mean becoming an expert. I mean, there's like 10,000 hours behind putting this franchise and all this material and all of this other stuff, all the man hours associated with this. That
Yes.
runway is considerably shortened, whether you're hiring a mentor or you're signing on to be a franchisee in this situation. You're going to either pay for this one way or another, and
That's right.
And it's one of those things that it's really a great platform that I think people should take a hard look at. I mean, we're strong believers in mentorship, and that investment is so worth time and money and effort. I mean, you might as well either put in that 10,000 hours, or you learn somebody who's already put in those 10,000 hours.
That's exactly right. And if you take it to a monetary perspective, I mean, well said. If I could only add the monetary side, you're either going to pay in terms of time and lots of time, and certainly there's cost associated with that, or you're going to be buying into an opportunity that saves you all those funds and you're not investing the same amount of time. But either way, you're going to be investing time and money, but can you cut out a hefty percentage of that by tapping into something that's already created for you?
Sure. So, one of the things that when they sent me information about Joe Homebuyer, one of the things that stood out to me that I wanted to make sure I asked you about is the collaboration style of sales and stuff that you promote. Can you talk a little bit about that regarding the whole collaboration approach to sales?
Yeah, certainly. In fact, I appreciate the question, Jack. And for me, I don't know that I'm the most polished sales guy, or that there's lots of systems out there. In fact, one of them that we all adopt, in our industry that's pretty popular, is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss.
Oh, love that book.
Incredible book. And I'm sure
Incredible.
You've talked about it on your podcast before. And there's those on the listeners, if you haven't read it or listened to it or both, just incredible takeaways from that. So we very much use these concepts. And there's others that, over the years in sales that I've been in different programs or received training. And I like the word collaborative in the sense that we really don't play a lot of games when we're negotiating. Yes, do we use the Chris Voss techniques of mirroring and labeling and those things that he teaches that allow you to get into a deeper level of a negotiation with the prospective seller. And so there is a lot of that. But this idea of collaborative is, at the end of the day, our mission at Joe Homebuyer is improving lives by by providing creative real estate solutions. So it's this idea of, am I providing real value to them? Am I improving their life? And at the end of the day, I'm convinced, and it goes back to this go-giver, if you haven't read that book, this go-giver mindset, that I'm convinced that if I'm genuinely interested in providing them true value and, spending a lot of my time and energy being collaborative. All right, what do you need? Doing a real needs audit. What is it that is really going to benefit them? What is it going to help them to move on to plan B and actually improve their lives? What are those creative solutions I can come up with to provide that value? And that's what I mean by collaborative sales. What is it that I think that helps me stand out from my competition? The fact that I'm genuinely interested in finding a solution. I'm collaborative in my effort to just ask quality questions and really build a solution around their needs. I'm just convinced that that's the right way to do business, and it's the right way to offer what we're offering. We all know that there's, some fuzzy ways to do business in real estate. You can cut corners, you can be dishonest, you can misrepresent. We're not about that, nor do I think a lot of people are. But we're also not heavy on gimmicky type sales, pulling away type thing. And some of you are going to cringe that have lots of business experience. Certainly we set impending events and we set deadlines and things like that, but we don't play games of like, hey, if you don't make a decision today by 12 o'clock, I'm gone type thing. But we say, hey, look, there's an urgency here. I've got to allocate funds. I've got to make decisions. But at the end of the day, I know that I've invested a ton of time with Mr. Seller, that he needs this, that, and the other, and I can provide that if we can come up with a solution. And I'm mindful of ways that I can provide real value to the seller. And that's just our belief system, core value, and our mission, again, improving lives by delivering creative real estate solutions. I feel like you can win more than you don't just by having the mindset of how can I provide these people real value, real creative solutions. And it just seems to yield the results that our ambitions desire, to just make lots of money in real estate, and all along the way, you're providing a ton of value.
Yeah. No, I don't want to put you on the spot. So if you don't have one in the holster, I understand. But could you give us an example of like one of these creative offers that you might have maybe?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'll break it down a little bit for you. So I had a family that wanted to put an agreement together, felt good about the price, felt good about everything. They lived out of state, and so this was all over the phone. And coming down to the details, we agreed on a price. We looked through the DocuSign. We're going through the details. They verbally agreed to everything. And here we are, click, send, like it's done. And they go, Mark, this looks great. I can't think of a worry in the world. We're just going to review it with our attorney tomorrow. And I'm like, well, help me understand. We've agreed on price. We've agreed on, all the details. What can I do to, just ask you to keep your commitment and proceed tonight? And they wanted to drag their feet. They're like, well, we just, want to sleep on it, talk with, our attorney type thing. And I challenged them. I said, well, let me ask you this. If I were able to get a little uncomfortable and provide something of additional value to you, and I don't know what that is, Mr. Seller, but I was able to provide additional value. Is it something that we could, proceed with tonight? If you just felt like, this is a no-brainer. Mark was willing to pay the price. We were able to have the time in the home that we need. We're able to have the different things that we need. Is there something that would sweeten the deal for you to make it better? Well, Mark, we've got that Hummer. We've got that Hummer sitting in the garage that I need shipped out to North Dakota. If you would, we don't know how we're going to get that back. If you could get that out to us, I think we could feel comfortable putting this together today. So I'm like, all right, well, if I commit to that, you're willing to sign the agreement right now, right here on the phone type thing. And so they agreed to it. And the only stipulation I put on the addendum was, okay, well, as long as it doesn't exceed $2,500, I'll ship your Hummer to you. It ended up being $1,800 or something. Now that was not meaningful to most people, but to them, getting that Hummer, it had a lot of history. He had driven it from North America to south tip of South America. He'd seen thousands and thousands of miles, lots of history. Mm-hmm. It was important to him. More commonly, it's really finding out that people need cash before closing and need time in their home after they close, a dumpster, or obviously just to leave things in their home. And people think, well, yeah, that's pretty common in our space. And it is. But are we building a plan around that actually helps them see plan B, relieve them of some of those stresses? And, we just try to find a creative. In fact, every week in our team meeting, we get together as a team. And one of the sections of our agenda is seller stories. What have we done for sellers that we can share that meets our mission of providing creative real estate solutions? And every week it's a different story. Hey, we met with such and such seller. We were able to do this for them. That's what we're about. And so it's just creative ways. I mean, shipping a Hummer to North Dakota might be the most random of all of them, but they're all unique and they're all different. Obviously, helping people relocate, taking them to Chick-fil-A for the first time. We've done it all, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't mean to put a plug in for our friends at Chick-fil-A, but we had a seller that had never been to Chick-fil-A, and it came up. And so he hopped on our car, and that was just one way we were able to connect with them, is provide our seller Chick-fil-A. So we just try to get engaged in their lives.
No, I mean, that's a great example. I'll throw one out at you too. We had one where there was a family that the father had passed away, and there were quite a few antiques in the house.
Yep.
So but unfortunately the family wasn't getting along, and nobody
Right.
wanted to come together to collect
Right.
the stuff. So our offer was that we delivered, that all they had to do was tag the antiques, and when we just had them all delivered to the,
I love it.
so
Right.
just
Right.
just to make them a little bit more
Thinking outside the
comfortable.
box.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Just that little bit extra. And then we closed on the deal.
I feel your pain. We had a lady that wouldn't close because she didn't know what to do with the upright piano, and until she could wrap her mind around the solution. So it's fun. We're in such a special industry where we can provide people so much value, and sometimes it's just that extra question. It's that extra sensitivity to ways you can provide value, and it opens up a lot of doors.
So, well, we've been chatting for a good half hour here already. And I really value your time, and I know it's a Friday night, but was there anything else that I should have asked you here yet tonight?
I love the question, and I started a little bit into this direction. The one thing I like to share with people is, wherever you're at on your journey, wherever you're already doing something for yourself by listening to this podcast, and you've got a great resource in Jack, and as both content, but somebody that I know genuinely cares about providing value. So you're already doing, as I speak to the listeners, you're already doing things to help your future. Real estate's a special market. You've chosen well in that regard. The add-on to that would be, challenge yourself to become a better leader. And a leader is a different thing for everybody else, but develop, who you are as a husband, as a father, as a business partner, as a employee. And you think, well, why would I invest into being a better employee? Well, you're being a better employee because you're providing people more value, and the more value you provide, the more opportunities open up. And I just adopted this idea, reiterate it, that the better leader you become, the more opportunities. And grateful that I've learned that principle. I'm still on a journey to develop that. We've been able to attract just incredible talent at our organizations because of, I believe in part at least, because of who I'm trying to become, who my business partner is trying to become, what we're trying to accomplish. And it starts with just that personal journey of maximizing our potential. And so just an invitation, challenge. Thank you, Jack, for creating a platform for me to share that, and also caring to share that message and ask that question for your listeners. And challenge, that's the journey that we should all be on, is developing ourselves in that way.
So, well, you kind of took the wind out of my sails. And in the end, at the end of the episode, I usually summarize like some highlights of the episode. I think I'm going to leave it where you just left it. I mean, that your ending is like absolutely perfect.
Oh, thank you.
And I really appreciate your time. Again, look for Mark at his website, joehomebuyer.com. You can reach out to him there. And is there any other preferred methods of getting hold of you or your team? I'm sure, being a franchise, although you're probably covering most of the United States, I'm guessing that you have limited number of students in each region, right?
Yes. Yeah. So
Yeah. So you
very much.
probably
Yeah.
want to reach out sooner than later, just to make sure you grab your spot, is what I'm saying.
Yes, please. But LinkedIn is another great one. You can find me on Facebook. But there is an opportunity if you just go to joehomebuyer.com, select on the franchise opportunity section. Would love to hear from you. You can fill out a form, and obviously would love to have a one-on-one conversation with you if you find value in our offering. And even if you don't, we can get you steered in the right direction, and would love to chat with you.
Right. No, I appreciate it, Mark. I hope we can chat again sometime.
Good man. Likewise. Thank you, Jack.
Thank you.